Good afternoon. My name is Yuldash Vasyevara. In this lesson, we will speak about lexical approach and lexical chunks. So, what does it mean by a lexical approach? Michael Lewis, who coined the term lexical approach, suggests the following. Lexis is the basis of language. Lexis is misunderstood in language teaching because of the assumption that grammar is the basis of language and that mastery of grammatical system is a prerequisite for effective communication. The key principle of a lexical approach is that language consists of grammaticalized lexis, not lexicalized grammar. One of the central organizing principles of any meaning-centered syllabus should be lexis. And next, theory of language. It bases on lexical language theory. That is, it consists of lexical items and multiple word units. Lexical terms. Lexicon. A lexicon is often used to describe the language that a speaker has about the words of a language. This includes meanings, use, form, and relationships with other words. A lexicon can thus be thought of as a mental dictionary. For example, a successful learner develops an language lexicon independently of their language one lexicon, which means there is less confusion, translation, and language one interference. In the classroom, many teachers and learners regard expanding the target language lexicon, in other words, learning new vocabulary as a priority. Advanced level learners, for example, will express the need for more words frequently. Lexical chunk. A lexical chunk is a group of words that are commonly found together. Lexical chunks include collocations, but these usually just involve content words, not grammar. For example, in this dialogue there are 5 possible chunks. Did you stay long at the party? No, I got out of there as soon as they ran out of the food. So, stay long at the party, got out of there as soon as, ran out of, they are lexical chunks. In the classroom, focusing on lexical chunks is a useful way to look at the language and to extend learners' control of it. For example, learners can spend a little time at the end of a reading comprehension exercise identifying chunks in the text and analyzing them, or identifying other contexts they might be found in. Lewis suggests the following taxonomy of lexical items. They are words, for example, book, pen, and polywords, example, by the way, upside down, collocations, or word partnerships. For example, community service, absolutely convincing, and institutionalized utterances. I'll get it, we will see, that's all do. If I were you, would you like a cup of coffee? And sentence frames and headers. That is not as you see, the fact, suggestion, problem, danger words, and even text frames. Example, in this paper we explore firstly, secondly, and finally. A lexical set. A lexical set is a group of words with the same topic, function, or form. For example, cat, dog, tortoise, goldfish, gerbil is part of the topical lexical set pets. And quickly, happily, completely, dramatically, angrily is a part of the syntactic lexical set adverbs. Lexical sets are a way of looking at new vocabulary that some learners um, find useful. Activities include asking learners to sort words into groups, word games such as chaining game, I went to the market and bought, odd one out, and stop and class post projects. Corpus collocations of language items including spoken samples packaged in the text format on internet. Learning theory. Lexical approach doesn't have a coherent learning theory and attempts to rectify this with some assumptions about learning theory in lexical approach. Now let's watch a video about lexical chunks.
Lexical approach. Before getting into the lexical approach, I would like us to first ask ourselves the following question. What is lexical chunk? Well, lexical chunk is a group of words that are commonly found together. For example, look at the following conversation. Did you stay long at a party? No. I got out of there as soon as they ran out of food. Stay long at the party, got out of there as soon as ran out of are all examples of lexical chunks. Lexical chunks are also known as collocations, set phrases, prefabricated phrases, or lexical phrases with other names. The one who started with the lexical approach was this fellow over here. His name is Michael Lewis. In the year 1993, he started making his studies public. According to his approach, lexis is the basis of language. Lexis referring to lexical chunk. Grammatical mastery is not a requirement for effective communication, meaning that the storage in the brain of a long list of grammar structures will guarantee meaningful communication. Any meaning-centered syllables should be organized around lexis rather than around grammar. According to the grammatical approach, contrary to the lexical approach, fluency is gained through the accumulation of long lists of grammatical structures that in combination with vocabulary words will bring about fluency. So let's look at the example over here. Tom is playing soccer. So according to the grammatical approach, brain accesses every single constituent of the sentence and then forms the sentence to achieve communication. But according to the lexical approach, this is not the case. Fluency is rather the accumulation of vast stocks of these lexical phrases. Lexical phrases or lexical chunks are therefore vital for human production. For example, look at this conversation between Chris and John. So Chris says, Carlos tells me Jessica fancies him. John says, it's just a figment of his imagination. According to the grammatical approach, what the brain does in this case is it accesses every single part of the sentence and then it puts it together, be it to be either article, noun, possessive adjective, and so on and so forth. But according to the lexical approach, once again, what the brain rather does is it accesses the full chunk, it accesses the full phrase as a whole. It was just a figment of plus possessive adjective and plus imagination. Fun fact about this sentence and about this phrase, when asked to define the word figment, native speakers rather used examples like the ones we just saw, rather than defining the word figment in itself. In fact, many of them did not really know what about the conclusion that native speakers use chunks without analyzing the constituent parts of the verb in sentence. So, taking everything into account, fluency is gained through the accumulation of set phrases that, put together with vocabulary, bring about meaningful communication.
So, this is the end.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
This is the end of this video. So let's see this one.
Words. For example, in informal spoken English, there are a lot of common patterns of 2 or more words. For example, you know, or something. The thing is, we call these chunks. Some of these may not work in formal writing, but native speakers use them a lot in informal social English. Using them in conversations can help you sound more fluent. Can you hear the chunks in this real conversation?
We're 8 miles out of town now, you see.
Oh, I see.
We're in a little village. We're 8 miles out. You know, we're in the countryside. And, I mean, I grew up in the city. I was a city boy, you know.
Yes?
And it's quite a big change when you go to live in these small country places.
Do you miss the city?
Not really.
Oh?
Well, I do enough travelling anyway. I mean, I get to big cities now and again anyway, you know. I mean, we were in Sydney a month ago.
And where else were you? You were in Malaysia a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, all that, you know.
Yeah, I remember. How wonderful.
I was in Amsterdam a fortnight ago. So, you know, I get to see enough cities.
Of course you do. Anna and Nick use some common chunks to constantly check how much the other person knows, and to show each other that they understand. Nick and Anna use you know to be informal and friendly. It is a way of saying, I don't need to explain, you understand what I'm talking about.
Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, all that, you know.
Anna and Nick say, I mean, so they can explain themselves. This could be to say more about a subject, or because they think the person they are speaking to might not already know what they are saying.
You know, we're in the countryside, and, I mean, I grew up in the city.
You know and I mean are among the top 5 most frequent combinations of 2 words in English conversation. People say, you see, when they want to explain something, or make an important point. People say, I see, to show they understand what the other person means. You see and I see, where see means understand, are by far the most common uses of the verb see in spoken English.
And we're 8 miles out of town now, you see.
Oh, I see.
So it's the end of our today's video lesson. If you have got any questions, you can easily contact me. Thank you for your attention. Our lesson is over. Goodbye.